Here at West Coast BJJ, got a couple people preparing for some competitions. Johnny Gaines.
Just trying to keep the body together.
I'm here with the head coach of West Coast BJJ, our resident black belt, John here. How are you feeling with our athletes leading up to competition? We got Alex and Kate preparing for some combat jiu-jitsu, as well as your partner and one of our other head coaches, Shalana, preparing for wrestling nationals on May 30th.
Yeah, man, super cool. I'm just excited to be part of everybody's, training camp and journey, and I find it really awesome that we have athletes preparing for different kinds of combat sports. We got MMA athletes getting ready for things, combat jiu-jitsu athletes, wrestlers, no-gi athletes, and also like a variety of skill levels from like beginners to pretty advanced people. So just a really cool mixed room that we got going on right now.
I guess, how are you feeling looking at everyone's prep? It seems like everyone's skill progression's looking good, always getting better every day. And I think we can accredit that as well to your coaching approach. And just, we can kind of see based on the results looking around the room. You look in the back here, you see a decent couple of belts. You can't see them on the other side of the camera, but we got a decent wall of them over there as well. Some nice 80cc open medals, a couple, AVA throwing belts as well. So how are you feeling about all that? Just, you can prove based on your results that it seems like your approach is working pretty well. So,
man, yeah, we just try and keep it fun, keep it active, and keep changing things up. Like I don't believe there is a perfect approach to learning or training jiu-jitsu. So we just keep changing things up, and when we find something that seems to be working for like the whole room, then we'll keep those strategies involved. But we just keep changing things up, and I find that keeps it fun, but we find new skills all the time that way, and we're not so stuck in one training methodology. We just keep finding what works.
Well, I think we got some great results ahead. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated. Great talking to you as always.
You're the man, bro.
A little bit of a cut on the lip there.
A little bit of blow in the nose.
A little bit of blow in the nose. It's all good. It's part of the game. It's part of the game, brother. Let's go. Natty or not, guys.
Bicep flex, double bicep. Double bicep, both in the air. Lots out, lots out.
Here with another member of the West Coast BJJ and Muay Thai team here, head striking coach at the West Coast location, and one of the most terrifying human beings, but also one of the nicest we have here, preparing for a combat jiu-jitsu match, I believe on May 30th, a nice invitational tournament. Alex, how are you feeling about the whole thing?
I'm feeling good, man. It's been 2 years since I competed, 7 years since I striked anyone, so I'm feeling really good to get the rust off and get in there and actually hit someone. It's been a long time coming. I'm really excited.
You can get in there, throw some nice ground and pound, and I guess maybe not be able to throw some closed fists, but pull some boss root and shit, maybe TKO the fuck out of someone with palm strikes.
I'm hoping for it. I'll win, and if I could do that, that would be great. Emphasizing more combat style of wrestling, what I'm more excited about. Striking and passing and striking. Yeah.
Absolutely. Open up some opportunities with the strikes, and I think with some MMA experience and your striking knowledge as well, I think that rule set's going to suit you quite well.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
Talk about the striking program here. How do you feel about the students' progress? It seems like everyone's kind of learning very quickly under your guidance, and you have a great approach to teaching Muay Thai. So what do you kind of accredit that to? You've had some experience under some high-level people, and I guess kind of, want to dive into those experiences. You've had some time at TriStar at the PI, so maybe if you want to talk a little bit about that and just kind of how that's helped you, develop your skill progression.
I try to take everything from everyone I learn from, whether they're more skilled than me or less skilled than me. Obviously training with high-level athletes at PI and TriStar. Like I said, I just try to take anything I can learn and connect with my students, right? My whole thing with martial arts is I think anyone can do it, and I just think it just takes a really good instructor to communicate that to listeners, tactile learners, whatever it takes, man. Anyone can do this. That's my philosophy of martial arts. Anyone can do this.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this is why we love him as a coach. This is why we love him as a person. Thank you, Loopy. Pleasure talking to you as always. Oos. Dude is fucking terrifying. What the fuck? His opponents are fucked, dude. All right, guys, I'm here with a couple resident ass kickers, a wrestling coach, and she has nationals on May 30th, as well as a physiotherapist right here that stops us all from completely fucking our bodies up. So I'm gonna pass this mic off to her and kind of let them do their thing for a little.
Hey guys, I'm Shalana.
Hey guys, I'm Sonia, one of the kickboxing instructors here and our in-house physiotherapist.
She's awesome. I coach some of the wrestling here and some of the jiu-jitsu. I feel like together we make a really, really great team. And man, ever since opening this space, it's just been a breath of fresh air. I think we got such a cool training climate.
It's a really great space that offers jiu-jitsu, wrestling, kickboxing, and awesome kids classes. John and Shalane are excellent with kids.
You might even run into a celebrity, Hunter. I don't know, maybe he might be here.
Instagram celeb.
Yeah, he might give you a picture. I don't know. You have to ask. You will. Okay. Nice guy. I'm getting ready for the wrestling nationals. It's been years since I've done an actual wrestling competition. I've been really focused on my jiu-jitsu recently, and I want to continue to focus on my jiu-jitsu. So I'm looking forward to getting into any of the competitions that I can. And yes, Sonia's been supporting me a lot. We got really good rounds in, and I look forward to when she competes next too.
Hopefully by the fall. My partner Alex, who's the main kickboxing instructor and one of the assistant jiu-jitsu coaches here, he has his first combat jiu-jitsu match at the end of the month. He tore his meniscus about a year and a half ago and had it surgically repaired, and he's just been crushing it. He's stronger than ever and really excited. We're super stoked to see him on the mats again.
That's on the same day as the wrestling nationals, so really, really looking forward to that. We also have our teammate Kate, and she's ready to throw hands too. Also, shout out to Coach John, my partner John. He's amazing. He gives great coaching. I love him. I don't know.
We all love him.
We all love him.
It's time to check in with Kate and Shalana.
We have the awesome kind of relationship that's hard to find where we can absolutely beat each other up. And at the end of the day, it's all love, and we love it. We thrive off of it.
Yeah. It's awesome. I think like one of the great things too, if you can find yourself a training partner who's like Cho is like a weight class up from me, which is like super enjoyable because that pushes me a bit more for sure. And you know, I really love not having to actually compete against Cho.
It's nice. We can just support each other at the competition.
Exactly. We can kill all our opponents and then celebrate after. So dope. You know, wrestling with Cho, especially because she's like a monster college wrestler and like, you know, grappling her whole life. So it's, for me, been a really excellent just last couple years of like leveling up with someone a bit bigger and more experienced grappling and just being able to like fucking send it and like destroy each other. And yeah, honestly, there's not a lot of, I feel like, you know, for whatever reason, there's not a lot of folks who you can establish that kind of like deeper level of trust where you can go really, really hard and still be operating on like instinct level, you know, where it's like we're going super hard, but we also have a high level of trust where you're not gonna hurt each other. Like I've never been injured by Cho, so that's sick.
Likewise with Kate, and she'll attach herself to my legs. She's incredibly strong, and even though it feels almost scary at the time, but I trust her to the point where she's never injured me.
Totally.
So it's good. And yeah, Kate has a combat jiu-jitsu match coming up, and I'm really excited to see how she does. Overall, I'm just an absolutely huge fan, and she's also multi-talented. I don't know if you know this, but like she runs a bakery. She's got I was gonna say a boating license, but
Haha, no, I don't. I just boat illegally and do crimes on the water. But yeah,
cut that out.
I wouldn't go to jail. But anyways, cut that out.
Boating cops coming after you?
No, I try to avoid the Coast Guard.
She could choke them out anyways. It's
That's the
honestly
goal.
fine.
That's a joke.
Yes, yeah.
I pay taxes.
She pays taxes. I think we're pretty nice, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, another thing. So been really dope. This is my first combat jiu-jitsu match. I've really wanted to get into combat for a while. You know, I've been watching MMA, UFC since I was like 14, and feels like at times like being able to train striking as much as grappling is pretty much impossible. So this is like kind of a dope middle ground where you can take your grappling to like the next level of violence without having to be an elite striker, you know? So I'm really looking forward to that, and being able to get ready for that with Cho is great. Cho is a freaking Medusa combat jits vet. So, you know, just actually having someone like relatively my size who's killed it with combat before is like, I'm pretty stoked about that. So I would love to go on Medusa myself for sure. That'd be awesome.
Eddie Bravo, you should get her in there.
Dude, I dream of a TKO. Let's go.
Okay.
Cause even wire got bit by a spider, but see me, it was a gun. If you want space, I hope you take your helmet off soon as you get up to Venus and choke. You can watch the movie, think it's all up. White Carnier's all I'm seeing is good. My city lane.
All right, guys, time to check in with a couple of our favorite purple belts at West Coast here.
My name is Mark Phillips, purple belt under John Coots, training at Victoria, West Coast Jiu-Jitsu.
My name is Marco Youngson, also purple belt under John Coots.
Compete quite a bit, so mostly under like the ADCC rule set. And if I'm competing in any other like organization, it's to really get ready for like ADCC tournaments because that's what I'm focusing on. So yeah, basically the way I train is I'll show up to practice, whether I'm like trying to focus on something specific, force positions, and like do that during rolls. So I'm able to kind of like be more creative with my training. And then in rounds, like I'm really focusing on not getting scored on, scoring on people, and then hunting them for the submission if I feel like it's necessary, and then really like just pacing myself and stuff. Yeah.
I guess you asked about the specific training we're doing. I'd recommend if anyone's listening and they're really serious about jiu-jitsu, look up online Direct Learning. It's a paper I think from 2007. You can download a free PDF and then kind of understand what's going by pasting it in ChatGPT. And it's explaining this new theory, the constraints-led approach that Greg Souders is showing. It shows the theory behind why our brains learn the certain ways they do, and how training with games, task focuses, and changing constraints can actually lead to much better learning, much more diverse learning, and much more stable and just able to encounter new problems and solve novel problems better. So yeah, like right now we're switching a lot of our practices from the traditional method of showing techniques and then even doing a little live positional round to we're just doing games now in our training, and we're trying to focus on the entire game of jiu-jitsu each practice and working on specific skills from a variety of different positions.
I'm trying to move my like my mental framework when I'm like rolling with people from more of like a do this, do that, and then you either won or lost this battle, then you do this or do that. If that makes sense. Like I'm trying to like move away from like more like less of an instructional like technique to technique kind of thought process or framework when I'm like rolling, and I'm trying to move more towards like just focusing on like if they frame on me like beating the hands, getting under behind elbows, and just like kind of more of what he was saying, like I'm like be more intuitive I guess with my rolling. That way I can compete better and not be like thinking too much when I'm training, because I feel like if you focus on techniques a lot, you're just going to be like thinking, okay, I got this move, I won this battle, like what do I do from here? But if you focus on like the way he was talking about training, then you really have more of a kind of intuitive way to grapple, and it just makes you better like overall.
I'd say just to add on to what he's saying, like one of the biggest differences is when you're actually rolling, if you're thinking of techniques, there's latency between what you're perceiving and when you act, because you have to perceive the world, build some framework in your head of what's going on, try and find the correct technique for the exact move. All this is happening in split seconds, and then try and execute that move movement for movement. There can be like 100 different details in a specific technique, especially if you're watching Danaher instructionals. But if you're doing it this new way, what you're really saying is I have an intent of what I want to do in the roll, and my body is just going to self-organize itself to complete that intent. And over time, with the variety of bodies, introducing a bunch of variability, it'll make your techniques adaptable, and they'll work against like a bunch of new situations. And on top of that, you won't just have a specific technique, you'll have a skill that'll be able to use in a bunch of different scenarios. So when you're in a different position and somebody's framing on you similarly, if let's say you're in half guard and then you're in side control and someone frames on you in a similar way, you'll already have those skills built up, and you won't have to relearn as many techniques. And instead your body will hold all the information. All you really need to focus on is what your actual intent is, what you want to do during the roll, whether that's pinning the head and shoulders, clearing frames, controlling the hips, controlling the feet. It's really up to you based on the scenario, but you'll let your body self-organize, and you won't have to worry as much about all these micro movements, making sure your elbows are in the correct position, making sure your hands are in the correct position. Your body will do this itself, and you can focus on the actual things that are important. This way, during rolls, you'll be much quicker, you'll be much more fluid, and you won't be moving like a robot. You see a lot of people are, myself included, when you're trying to learn like technique move for move.
I'm too fast. I'm too fucking violent.
5'2".
It's a D1 instigator, Merrick Phillips here. He's preparing for the AVA Throne Invitational on July 5th, as well as East Coast Trials after that. Merrick, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling super good. Every single time I train and compete, I just feel like I'm improving constantly. So you have a really good room at West Coast. So
Absolutely. He beats the shit out of me every time we do rounds, and it's an absolute honor to, be in the same room as this guy. Leading up to a kind of, what are you thinking? How are you feeling in your prep? You feeling pretty confident as usual? It seems like you're in a pretty good spot. So.
Yeah, like for AVA, there's like a regulation period, kind of like EBI, and then the overtime, it's like modified. So it's not exactly like EBI, but it's like if you're in a defensive cycle, it's still live. So I'm basically just, staying updated on my armbar escapes and back escapes, pin escapes, and then just looking for the submission. But in the grand scheme of things, I always train the 80cc rule set because that's what I'm kind of focused on. I really want to win trials eventually, so I always will not concede position, even if I'm training for like a submission-only tournament, if that makes sense.
And also, if you guys are ever in Victoria, if you want some private lessons, learn from one of our best we got, you can reach out to Merrick on Instagram, Merrick Phillips JJ. And also, if you ever need some exterior cleaning jobs, reach out to him as well.
Yes, sir.
Because
guy with the deals.
Yes, sir. Plug Bowtie Boys Exteriors, as well as Merrick Phillips JJ. Thank you, sir. It was an honor talking
Thank
to
you.
Much appreciated. Scariest husband and wife combo in Victoria right here.
We're trying.
It's working. On a side note, let's go ask Nick and Merrick about Casper's new album.
I'm here with Nick Timchuk. What do you think about Casper TNG's new album?
I think the new album, I think he really uses a good blend of melodies, but also thoughtful lyrics to really touch on the street life and the struggles that he goes through in the streets of the T-Dot,
So you'd say it's a gosh damn work of art?
It's a gosh damn work of art, honestly. I would put it up there with, Beethoven's classics, Beethoven's Fifth. It's a bare ting.
I agree.
Sheesh, Cody.
You're gonna get shot, bro.